So yeah, I'm going to lead it to you.
All right,
let me share the story.
All right, awesome. Well, I'll probably contradict myself a little bit, and even with just your opening statement. But on Friday, I did share a story about my mother had a stroke, and I was with her actually when her first symptom came on. We were driving home, and she was driving, and she did a turn into the lane, and we stopped at a red light, and she got dizzy. And I thought maybe it had just been some inner ear thing that just threw her off, a little vertigo or something. But about 5 days later, we were not around. And she called me and said, "Hey, I'm having some dizziness, nausea, just don't feel good. I don't feel good." And I said, "Well, can you go to the hospital?" And she said, "Yes, I can." And then she ended up being diagnosed with a stroke, which was super shocking news.
Very shocking.
Because the contradiction is that if you do the things to prevent a stroke, you'll most likely be kind of ahead of it, aware. And we've been doing that with my mom, and we were completely shocked by it. So, meaning, and I'm going to jump 10 steps forward and then I'll come right back. But there's all these different things you should be aware of that are easy to know, like little health metrics, little things you can do. Like that's, as an example, blood pressure, something like that. Just know these simple things, and then we'll go more into depth as we talk about the other things. But we knew all of it. But I think a lot of what my mom's issue was that many, many years of neglect,
Right, the calcification
and the atherosclerosis that builds up, the plaque formation, it starts building up because of just unhealthy living for such a long time. Now she's made some significant changes, and I think she'll rebound just fine because she, quite frankly, doesn't have any of the disability or severe symptoms. So maybe her rehabilitation will go smoother. But the topic today isn't really just about my mom's stroke. The topic is about stroke, but also in heart attacks and cardiovascular disease. But this isn't like a boring topic, really, because even if you are young and vibrant and 35 years old, maybe you're like, this isn't me. But guess what? A family member, a loved one, and quite frankly, it's what you're doing today, where you'll have to work on you'll have to be working today for your 25-year future self.
Yeah, and that's what we talk about, being proactive.
Yeah.
Okay, doing things well before you need to, right? That is being proactive about your health. And that's something that my mother-in-law didn't do. Mm-hmm. Now, when she moved closer to us and we were able to really tighten things up and help her supplement right and educate her on the proper way to eat a healthy diet. She's going to the gym on a regular basis. But we didn't control, she was not proactive in her younger years. And this is a result of it. And it's scary. It's scary to just see. It's wonderful to see how she came out of it.
I was going to say.
But it's scary to think about what could have just happened.
But how she's coming out of it right now, which is still fresh, but think about what if she hadn't done the lifestyle changes?
Sure.
And she made these changes late in the game. She's 74. Not late in the game, but I mean, she just started doing things in the last 5 years.
Right.
So, it could have been a lot worse, right? I mean, imagine if she just kept going on and doing the things she'd been doing with sedentary lifestyle, drinking too much alcohol, eating ultra-processed foods, and just poor nutrition. That's the thing, right? So it could have been way worse, probably.
Right.
I imagine. So that's it, guys. Let's get into some of the things. The lifestyle, you'll hear from us on all different topics, from ranging just strictly from the things you should know about heart health to, of course, all of the other supplements and lifestyle measures you can deploy. So do you have something in order you want to follow?
Well, sure. I mean, first I just want to briefly say what a stroke is. So some of you may have
what is a stroke?
I've always heard of stroke,
Sure.
but actually what is it? And it occurs when blood flow to part of the brain is interrupted.
Right.
And for my mother-in-law, it was, do you know exactly
thoracic artery.
Okay. Thoracic artery, which is a big one, to the brain, but it deprives the brain cells of oxygen.
Yep.
So that's where the disability comes afterwards, because things die.
Things die, yeah.
Right?
Sure.
So there's two major types. Your ischemic stroke, which is most common, about 85% of strokes caused by the blood clot blocking a vessel, which is happening in this case.
That's right.
And a more hemorrhage stroke.
Hemorrhaging
stroke where there's bleeding around the brain, which is less common. I don't know statistic-wise, but I know it's less common.
Right.
So the impact of what happens is brain cells begin to die within minutes. That's why, gosh, I always remember, it must have been in school and stuff like that when we were going through trainings and they give you all of the stroke, prevent all the signs.
Yeah.
Because the quicker you can get help, the better your chances are of coming out.
Sure.
My mother-in-law did. So what tends to happen? Functions like speech, movement, memory, vision. they can all be lost.
And those ones right there, like fast is the mnemonic I remember. So if F,
Oh, you're right.
F is the face like drooping or one side's
Right,
off.
that's what I
A
was
is the heavy arm
Right.
or one-sided arm weakness, right?
Right.
And then slurred speech is yes. And then T
Right.
was the time to call, time to go, because
Right.
time is of the essence. So FAST was fast, the mnemonic.
Gosh, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
But that's what I was talking about. I remember going through like all the training on it because, immediate emergency treatment is critical.
Critical, yeah.
It is
yeah.
critical for the outcome. So just remember that. Pay attention with all your loved ones. But if you ever suspect anything, and again, this one wasn't really any of those symptoms, but just you knew something was off,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So, gosh, when in doubt, just
Yeah, go.
get checked out. When
Yeah.
in doubt, get checked out.
That's right.
That
There
rhymes.
you go.
Okay, so lifestyle factors for prevention. I mean, we talk about this stuff all the time. I
course.
mean, we can talk about it till we're blue in the face,
Yep.
and unfortunately, many people don't take part in it.
No,
It's sad. It is very sad. And some of it is lack of education, and especially when it comes to diet. Like an interesting thing, so we had my mother-in-law over
Last night.
for dinner
Yeah.
because we had to do her birthday dinner because she missed her birthday.
She was in the
because She was in the
hospital.
hospital. Very
Unbelievable.
sad. So I have just started getting into making sourdough, and it's a very clean bread. Obviously, I use an organic flour and it's water and a little bit of salt, so super clean. But she was worried to eat it, a piece of it, because she's like, well, doesn't this make me fat? And I just feel like that's such a common, I hear that all the time. It's like people just equate like a healthy
bread and
carb
carbs.
to making them a healthy carb to making them fat. And I try to explain to her like sugar is the culprit. Those cookies
All
that
the
you
added
love
sugars.
and all that stuff, that's the culprit. So when it comes to eating healthy, I do want you to think mostly, I mean, a Mediterranean diet is a great one to follow just because you have it's rich in vegetables, leafy greens,
Yeah.
your
Fatty acids.
fish, your high omega meats, olive oil, nuts, berries, low saturated fat meat. Even last night I did cook a bison, and bison is very low in saturated fat. So like we were educating her on that too because she was scared to eat the red meat because it is red, but it's very low in saturated fat. So sometimes I know that this comes from lack of education, which I understand. This is not everybody's.
Well, or that, or they get mixed information.
Mixed information. I mean, gosh, you could type in, this, everybody knows this. You could type in anything you want on the internet and you can type it in and word it one way to get a set of answers and just change that wording towards the opposite side. And you're going to get this just conflicting answers. So they're literally going to bump each other in the head. So it is very confusing. And we do know that. That's why we also like to talk about it. And maybe
Yes.
we'll do just another training one time on just like nutrition.
Sure.
It always, look, the more we talk about it, the better. So limit your processed foods, limit things that come in packages. You've always heard that that saying is like do the perimeter of the grocery store because that tends to be like your produce,
Yeah, your
your
fresh
meat,
foods.
your dairy, that kind of stuff. Focus on that. If something comes in a package, guys, it's processed food. It's probably going to contain some form of trans fats, excessive salts, excessive sugar.
Yeah, different
always
preservatives.
going to be there. Yeah, preservatives. I mean, it's junk. I know it's hard to do because that tends to be the fun stuff, especially if you have kids. But whole foods. Think about eating whole foods coming from the earth, right?
That's right.
This briefly tapping into exercise.
Yeah.
We don't need to get specific on exercise because the goal is to move your body every day. Of course, you want to have a little bit of a balance of getting your heart rate up through some sustained cardio, even if it's like longer distance walking, biking, anything like that. But you also need to do some type of strength training. So
Yeah.
but with that, there's body weight stuff. There's YouTube
Resistance
is a
training.
wonderful source.
Yeah, 100%. And right along that, you can also monitor. There's some of your metrics that you can start to look for. So you can look at your resting heart rate. You can look at your heart rate recovery, heart rate variability. You can look at your VO2 max if you're into more performance stuff.
Right.
These are the types of things that you can look at. A wearable now tells you these things. And those things also are very nice to track from a cardiovascular perspective.
Right.
And blood pressure, of course, like we talked about. But
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's next to their blood pressure control.
yeah.
Know your numbers, but don't
Yeah.
just know your numbers when you go to your 6-month, 1-year checkup at the
Yeah.
doctor,
Yeah.
because it can change very quickly. And this also happened with cholesterol for my mother-in-law's. I think maybe 3 months prior, maybe 6 months, she had a full blood panel and the cholesterol was decent. Everything seemed, it was within normal limits. But this one that she had from the hospital, the blood work, the cholesterol was through the roof. So cholesterol can change very, very, very quickly based upon how you're eating and what you're doing to your body. So
Over a period of what, like 8 to 12 weeks?
yeah, very
Something like
fast.
that. Yeah, 3 months or less, your lipids can really change.
Yeah, very fast. So pay attention to it all. Here's the managed blood sugar and cholesterol. This all
Yep.
goes with it. You know, watch just, I know there's a lot of mixed information right now out there about cholesterol, you know, because I could just tell personally for me, like I do run a higher LDL. I've had a clearly calcium score. My score is a 0. I've got no calcification. This is my body. It holds on to a little bit of cholesterol, but it's not doing anything to my body. It's not clogging anything. So the more you know about your body, the
All right, guys, we'll be right back with you here on the video. Just give me 1 sec, but we're on audio right now.
yep, this goes right along with our streaming program, which is having difficulty staying connected to Instagram. So we're just going to drop that real quick. So sorry for those that may have been watching this on Instagram, but
All right.
again, this is always going to be recorded. It's always going to be on YouTube. So helps there. Okay. Stress management. We know that chronic stress contributes to hypertension and inflammation, right? Remember inflammation, because that's going to keep coming back and coming back when we talk about supplements. Avoid smoking, limit alcohol. I mean, these are things that we know. So these are the same type of lifestyle stuff that we go to over and over and over again. So part of lifestyle is supplementation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so let's
sure.
get into supplementation. I'm going to start with number one.
The omega-3 fatty acids and the curcumin are going
Oh,
to
here we
be
are.
the two
Yep.
top ones on that one for sure.
Yep. So our factor 4,
Yeah.
beloved factor 4, omegas.
The DHA and the EPA is what you're going for here.
Right.
Yeah, the omega-3 fatty acids can help with your triglycerides or HDL, can help with the inflammatory markers. Yeah, widely considered a good heart healthy supplement for sure. Even prevailing theory from cardiologists and everybody. So, and the curcumin, of course, is a great antioxidant to help. We didn't get into a lot of what the plaque formation process is or the atherosclerosis, that big word. That's just a word that says your arteries are starting to narrow. And usually, and they get stiff too. That's kind of the problem with age, you know, that stiffening. And that's why exercise is so important.
Sure.
You know, it can really help to kind of bring the endothelium, give it more of that flexibility,
Right.
pliability. But what ends up happening at some stage early on, you get like these reactive oxygen species, so these free radicals, and there's just a lot of inflammation. And then some insult, something happens in a blood vessel, and it causes like a cell to stick, and they start to clump together. That's where like a curcumin and some of these antioxidants can be very beneficial when we talk about super reds and super greens. You know, there's really, and even ubiquinol, the CoQ10, different things. They can really help to neutralize some of these free radicals that we're definitely generating more, probably than we ever have or should because of our exposures and our lifestyle. So I would say that's definitely a big benefit of the factor 4. Of course, there's garlic, and then I like the CoQ10 I just named is in there as well. So amazing supplement for heart health, clean, anchovy base, so small fish base, so no PCBs, what's the heavy metal in fish?
Mercury.
Mercury. Thank you. And we've tested for that, guys. That's all available for you to see as well. So that's definitely a winner.
Yes, and you know on the bottle it says take 2 per day, but
Yeah.
we always recommend 2 to 6 depending on what's going on.
Yeah.
We personally take 4,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's all in our eyes.
Yeah.
It's all about prevention. Okay, vitamin
Cool.
D. Oh.
Yeah, the sunshine vitamin, good for a hormone, good for,
have
well, it's a
either.
hormone. Actually, the kidney converts it to a hormone, which is kind of cool, but
Oh, wait.
definitely known as bone health, but way more things now, right? We're talking about heart health, we're talking about talking about energy, we're talking about energy and mood. So yeah, there's all these different benefits with vitamin D, but I mean,
And most people are deficient, and a deficiency is linked to cardiovascular
Yeah.
disease. I mean, there's a link.
again, like suboptimal levels, like they want you to be somewhere around, just the numbers are crazy, what the recommended numbers are, and they, for like LabCorp requests, but when you start to think about it, like 60 to 70 is probably more optimal, but you have to really have some vitamin D supplement on
Right.
board to get there.
Right, for
So
sure.
yeah, vitamin D.
And
Organic
did
now
you
too.
talk about the K too? For
The
like,
K2
calcium-
for, yeah, exactly, to help pull out the calcium, to help increase the utilization of vitamin D. Yeah, very beneficial. And don't confuse the K does play a role in clotting. So when you start thinking about it, K is a clotting cofactor, but that was an older therapy called warfarin or Coumadin, the anticoagulant. It's still somewhat used, but if you are on warfarin or Coumadin, definitely be careful with your vitamin K.
All right. Magnesium, ultra magnesium complex,
Yeah,
our mighty
awesome.
magnesium. Helps maintain healthy blood pressure, supports nerve recovery. I mean, a whole
Muscle
heck of a
nerve
lot
energy,
more.
yeah. Oh gosh, whole heck of a lot more.
So important.
Yeah.
And these are simple. Again, we always talk about this. This is not fancy. This is simple. You just got to do it.
Yeah. Mag's involved in the blood pressure in the heart like extensively because that's what nerve conduction and muscle contraction is. It's the membrane potential that magnesium plays a big role in. So again, I say it all the time, but a woman goes in, she's pregnant, she goes to the
Right.
hospital or for checkup or whatever, high blood pressure. Guess what
Yes.
they're putting her on? IV magnesium. You know it.
Okay, and then our multivitamins, men's and women's, foundational nutrients,
Definitely.
including your B vitamins.
Yep. The B's.
To help with like homocysteine levels.
Homocysteine. Yep.
I mean, a high or elevated homocysteine level
Yeah.
is a risk factor for stroke, right? So, got to know all this.
Yeah,
And
the B
again,
vitamins are critical.
know your numbers.
Yeah, know your
Like,
numbers.
Your
Yeah.
homocysteine level is typically a common test that can be done on
Yeah,
any
your
basic lab
homocysteine
work.
for sure. That's another one. Homocysteine levels. Maybe even want to know if you have the MTHFR gene variant where you would definitely need to be taking methylated vitamins because ours are methylated to make sure that just in case. But just so many like little data points that you should have that are not any more work if you're already getting routine blood work. You can just add them on. Most insurances cover it. Not expensive if they're not covered. So there's just a bunch of that stuff.
Right.
So yeah. All right, what's next?
Yeah, no, I was just reading a few things. We have Tammy, who's a naturopathic practitioner, says they like to see in their practice vitamin D levels a minimum of 80.
Yeah, see, there you go.
I always
So
say I'm about 89
what,
right
I think
now.
it's like somewhere around 16 or something, like to prevent rickets or something. And that's again what the levels are there to do, is like to prevent disease. You know, it's like holy crap. Well,
We want to be optimal.
we want to be optimal. We're not looking at just surviving. We want to thrive.
Yep.
And vitamin D levels definitely need, like Tammy said, her clinic practices at 80, 60 to 70, definitely more than 50. And you can get there. I mean, the 2,000 units will keep you between 30 and 50. You can go 4,000, 6,000. But remember, fat-soluble vitamin can build up, can accumulate, especially for those that have kidney disease. Got to be careful. But, you know, again, know your numbers, know your levels.
Yes, for sure.
And work with clinics like Tammy.
Yes.
Definitely find a holistic physician, a naturopath, a functional medicine provider. Guys, add that into your normal, like, Western medicine,
Yeah.
like family
You will
care.
learn so much
Yeah,
about your body.
you'll learn because you have family care that wants to check the boxes, right? Like certain things, especially if you're on Medicare, they have certain things, wellness checks every year and all the different things. But add the functional in and you'll be like, whoa, my eyes are way open now.
For sure. I saw a question about magnesium. We recommend taking it at night or later afternoon
magn's
just to help
good
with
at night.
sleep.
I think
You don't
so.
have to, but it does relax the body.
Yeah.
Okay, we have our super reds and here it is.
Yeah, the super reds.
and super greens. You
Yep.
just have your
Yeah.
high antioxidants,
Phytonutrients,
polyphenols.
antioxidants is the general broad term for those. Again, the free radicals, reactive oxygen species, they're things that could be from, gosh, you name it, man, like excess alcohol, staying out too late, just excess sun exposure, exercise. You know, there's these different things. So we recognize that free radicals are beneficial, but you have to give your body the mechanisms to neutralize and to sort of, you know, work through that process. It's one thing, like if we were eating the way we were eating 50 years ago, where, I don't know, 75% of single family homes had a garden, you know, where you'd eat the colorful plants and vegetables out of your garden and you
Right.
would be part of your diet every single day and you'd have your free range chicken eggs in the yard.
Snooze.
What does it say? Where
Your
is the
computer is
snooze?
about to reboot.
Right here?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, guys, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We're not technically inclined, I feel like. So anyway, you get the point. So you need to really have these whole food plant ingredients.
Plant foods, yeah.
Plant foods. And that's what we've done here with USDA certified organic. And we've definitely added a lot, and we give you full transparency on everything that's in there with glyphosate testing, heavy metal testing, all the different things. I mean, just, you know, and here's another thing. I should mention this real quick.
Okay.
In heart health and aging, nitric oxide plays a pretty critical role. Nitric oxide is a signaling molecule. It's actually a gas, but it does help to vasodilate, open up the artery. Again, as we age and they get more narrow and they get stiff. Now, nitric oxide has a very, very short half-life, milliseconds or whatever, but it's the body's continuous attempt to free up and increase blood flow. So when you feed your body with foods like high in dietary nitrates, like the thing, even like a beetroot, right, as an example, high in dietary nitrate, that can help with the nitric oxide process. And then we'll get into why the essential aminos also have arginine and citrulline,
Yes.
also precursors to nitric oxide. But benefits, right, to help increase blood flow, to help support the nitric oxide pathway that does get a little bit harder to manage as we age.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so a lot of that, is geared towards prevention.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Sure.
what do you know, guys? Right here, this is our also wellness.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Good catch. Didn't
And
do that
I'm
on purpose.
about to throw this one in there too. I know you just brought it up because
Yeah.
it's citrulline and arginine, but also post-stroke recovery.
Right.
So it's so
That's
important
a big
for
a
your
big
muscle
one.
recovery and stroke-related mobility.
Yep.
I mean, so your ultimate wellness pack. I mean, we put this together for a very
actually.
important reason, right? Very important reason. A few other things just post-stroke, right? What are our goals? We rebuild the damaged brain and nerve tissue.
Right.
Again, same thing, support circulation, oxygen delivery, just like what you're doing before. Reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, just like what you're doing on the prevention side. We regain muscle strength and coordination, which I just said. So I'll
That
give,
stability training's huge.
yes, very, very important. And also with that comes, I'm going to throw in our creatine. So the creatine
Yeah.
will help with the muscle,
Sure.
but it can also help with the brain.
The brain, the
So
cognition.
what did I put down here?
Sorry, guys. I'm just looking at my notes because I emailed myself a few things I just want to say too.
So creatine
Yeah.
is very well studied for brain energy metabolism and ATP energy production. So so many people still hear creatine and think it's all about the muscle, it's all about the meatheads. It is so studied in brain energy metabolism. It is so important for our brain. So typically, what did I just say? What happens in a stroke, right? Our brain cells die due to the lack of oxygen, lack of blood flow. You need to help regain all that. So research in traumatic brain injury and neurodegenerative disease suggests creatine may help protect neurons and improve recovery. And of course, we already said the muscle strength, which we need to regain during stroke rehab, right?
Yes, exactly.
Whoops.
And again, while the aminos have been shown to be beneficial, even at bed rest, it helps preserve some of that lean muscle mass. Because the stroke recovery can be lengthy, depending on the symptoms.
Right.
And it could require lots of different therapy. It could be physical, occupational, speech therapy. I mean, there's a lot of different things they have to reestablish. Most stroke victims,
Right. I'm just going to throw this lovely guy in here. We love our methylene blue, but it's been studied for its ability to improve mitochondrial function. You hear us talk about mitochondria all the time, and energy production, reduces oxidative stress, and enhances memory and cognition, which tend to start to diminish after or are diminished after a stroke, because the brain cells die. So we need to help repair and improve the brain function. So there's that methylene blue.
Yep.
And then same thing was kind of going with the E3. E3 is a little bit different because it has the caffeine. So
Right.
you have to make sure that you can tolerate caffeine, because if you have high blood pressure, caffeine may
Sure,
not be
it can
the
be
best
bad. It depends.
option
If
for
it's
you.
uncontrolled hypertension, then caffeine's going to be a no-go for you. But
Yes.
if you're well managed, you might be able to add a little bit.
Right.
Coffee is
But it's more
teas. And
right. It was more
So
instead
the
of
alpha GPC, the huperzine
There you
A, all those other ingredients that are great for the brain.
yes. Oh,
Yeah, I just wanted to say something real quick about the collagen. Collagen is important because it has a unique amino acid complex, but it's such a big component of your arteries, your veins, your vasculature. And after a stroke, one of the people you will see is a vascular surgeon. You'll see these people because they have to assess your blood flow through the vasculature, and obviously they're worried about the stiffness and narrowing of the arteries. That stiffness is made up of collagen, and a lot of the material of the arteries. So, I mean, look, given the body again the amino acids it needs to build collagen to help slow the breakdown, it's beneficial. It's beneficial for a lot of reasons, but that's something that many people don't think about. And then lastly is the hydration. I'm not suggesting that you want to load up on high amounts of sodium if you're uncontrolled hypertension and you're getting a lot of weird salts in your ultra processed food diet. But if you're eating clean, if you're exercising, if you're doing, or even if you're not exercising, but you're moving at least, you got to hydrate the cells properly. And a way to do that is with proper electrolyte balance, and that's why the hydration amplifier is out. That's so important. So it seems like a lot, but it's really not, guys. And I just wanted to read you a couple quick things, and then we'll let you go. I know we're keeping you kind of long today, but yeah. So The fine tuning is important. We talked about the resistance training and stability training, but fine tuning. So you want to do your daily recoveries. If you wanted to add in like hot, like sauna or cold exposures, you can get into stuff like that. Slow, deep breathing for the vagal nerve response. And, you know, there's some things now that can stimulate the vagal nerve in different ways. There's focus, of course, on the pillars of health. We always emphasize stress and sleep. We're like big time, but the sleep piece is actually becoming the main target, I think, for intervention. You know, I'm pretty sure. Processed foods we talked about, and then of course good oral hygiene is another one that you want to work on. You want to focus on is of course making sure you're brushing at least twice a day, flossing every single day. You'd be very surprised to know that some of that bacteria and it gets in through the blood, into the blood through the mouth, but like it can have an inflammatory cascade that can trigger additional plaque buildups and different things of that nature. So just keep that in mind that oral hygiene is also very important. Now I have a whole lot of other notes and things. And if you guys want any more information, please feel free to email Lisa or I. If you want to have specific lab recommendations, things you can talk to your physician about for markers, biomarkers, inflammatory markers, you know, what blood sugar guidance, things of healthy numbers for blood pressure, whatever it might be, guys, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll get back to you with that information, of course. Looking through, I know there's a lot of comments. You know,
A lot of great comments.
Comments can really, people
Love
can
it.
honestly relate to it, unfortunately, because, and this situation is not going away. Obviously, our lifestyle is
Right.
continuing to
And
drive.
someone was just saying great information, but constant reminders. And
Reminders.
Again, we need constant
Reminders.
reminders. Every
Reminders.
single day we
That's
need
right.
constant reminders. So that's why we do this. And some things you're going to notice kind of on a repeat. You know,
That's
we've
right.
done cardiovascular disease.
Yeah, we have
I
3
think
times.
it's our third time.
The third time, probably.
But
maybe
it's
fourth.
never going to end because we're going to keep talking about it because it's so crucial.
And guys, if you're like me, you're probably thinking, well, great, now you have mom and dad. My dad had a cardiac event where he was like a widowmaker, basically. So it was through a big clot heart attack. My mom had a stroke. So it's like, okay, wow. So fortunately, I know all my lipid markers. I've been really paying attention to a lot of things. And hopefully I can not be the same as those two. But
I mean, our diet and lifestyle is so
so
controlled.
different, so
but
controlled.
That's the goal. You
But
you
be
have to do
aware,
it.
you know, if you have a family member, definitely need to pay more attention. Thanks, guys. I appreciate everybody's time.
Sorry, I
and,
was just reading another question, but I think
for those
we
of you
answered it.
watching on recording, thank you again for tuning in.
Yes.
And guys, find us here next week, every Monday.
Yes, for sure. And remember, stroke doesn't have to be a life sentence. By making empowered choices every single day, what you eat, how you move, how you nourish your body,
Yep,
you can dramatically reduce your risk and support your recovery.
100%.
Big deal.
100%.
All right. So take care of yourself, guys. Reach out for any further questions.
Appreciate it.
And we'll see you next
Bye,
week.
y'all.
Bye.